What's going on YouTube? It's Tuxin here. Thanks for watching this video, and we gotta talk about this fan-made Sonic game called Sonic Galactic. This is a must-play Sonic fan-made game. Now, there's been tons of different fan-made games over the years. I've covered some of them on my channel. Most recent one was the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Game Gear 16-bit remake, which is really cool, very well done. There's also been more popular ones like Sonic Robo Blast 2. They've even did Sonic Triple Trouble and remade that into a 16-bit masterpiece. But today we got to talk about this one because this one is truly special and I've never played anything like this one. Now, this seems to be a fully fan-made game, but you wouldn't know by playing the game. It feels completely original. It looks stunning and it sounds amazing. So let's talk about some of the features here that we can get from the demo. There's some features that we don't get to play with, like selectable characters and things like that, but this thing is just absolutely amazing. So, the beginning of the game, you start off with a tutorial, and what you think, well, I've been playing Sonic for 30 years, I don't need a tutorial. This one is a little bit different because it does have some features that you don't typically see in some Sonic games. Some new features. Now, we got everything in here, like the monitor specials. You get the fire, the lightning. You even get the famous drop dash, which has been brought back into the Sonic fold since Sonic Mania. That's been a feature that was scrapped from the original Sonic the Hedgehog and then brought back many years later. But you do get a tutorial here, you get some wall jumps, and unlike the old classic Sonic games, there is an action button in this game. You do have to press a button to activate an action. You can do that for the drop dash, or if you wanted to use your special features from the monitors, such as the lightning and the fire. There's all kinds of cool things in this game that you don't get to see in other games. We'll get to those in a second, but I really wanted to just dive into all of this. Now, the graphics in this game are absolutely stunning. The animation is very fluid. I don't think I've seen these animations in any other game, so it doesn't look like they ripped any sprites out of any game. It looks like they might have ripped some sprites and then redrawn and reanimated them from scratch, or maybe they completely did them from scratch, who knows, but looks like all the graphics in this game are completely original. They all look like brand new. They don't look like they've been pulled out of any game. The HUD is the classic HUD. You get your score, time, and rings here. Nothing crazy there. And you also get a nice simple lives mechanic. Unlike some of the more recent 2D Sonic games like Sonic Superstars where they get rid of their lives completely, this is more traditional and they do bring back the live system, which I think is really cool. That was one thing I didn't like about Sonic Superstars, was they get rid of the lives. If the game is too easy, then it's really not worth playing. One of the issues that I had with Sonic Superstars was, if for some reason they didn't stick with the Sonic Mania gameplay. I mean, I guess they didn't want to lean too heavy into the old school, and that was just kind of a love letter for old school Sonic fans, but they really should have stuck to it because that's how you do Sonic 2D if you're going to do Sonic 2D. Now, we had a really great 3D Sonic game. You know, they've mastered 3D Sonic in Sonic Adventure, and then they worked upon it, made it a lot better in the future, but they did a really good 3D Sonic game with Sonic Generations, which is one of our best recent 3D Sonic games, which is a mix of 3D and 2D. So they got the formula down pat. Now, if you're gonna stick to strictly 2D, I think Sonic Mania was the way to go. If you're gonna stick with strictly 3D, I think Sonic Colors, Sonic Adventure, that kind of style of game is the one you want to go with. But for some reason, when they got to Sonic Superstars, they wanted to stay away from spray animations and go fully 3D, which they could have did like they did in Sonic Generations, but for some reason they just didn't really nail it. The game was too easy, the soundtrack wasn't very good, they stuck with a Sonic the Hedgehog 4 soundtrack for whatever reason, it just wasn't good. The music in this game is absolutely stunning. It sounds like T-Lopes did the entire soundtrack himself. Very Sonic Mania, which I don't mind borrowing from because I think that soundtrack worked really well for the game. Now, I always hate in classic Sonic games when they start trying to emulate the Yamaha sound chip from the Sega Genesis. It just doesn't work, and I wish they would stop trying to do that. Let's talk about the special stages. Now, the special stages in this game are absolutely amazing. It's nothing like you've ever played before. I guess it takes inspiration from several Sonic the Hedgehog games. On rails. They have the UFOs from Sonic CD here. Reminds me of the Sonic 3D Blast special stage, except you're not locked down to that bridge. Also reminds me of the Sonic Mania one, except you're not swinging around, but the visuals are very inspired by the Sonic Mania. Except this time, you are running on a playing field. The backgrounds look very Sonic CD. This thing is just amazing, and it's simple. It's not too complicated. You grab some rings. If you don't grab enough rings in the time limit, it loops again as the time goes down. It's just very, very fun. Is it my favorite Sonic 3D special stage? I will tell you this, it's better than the Sonic CD, where the Sonic CD is just overly complicated and way too hard. I mean, they're supposed to ramp up in difficulty, but at that point, I think the water mechanic in Sonic CD kind of throws it off, makes it very much not enjoyable. There's nothing here that runs your time out at an accelerated rate like the water in Sonic CD. You just kind of have to make sure you get enough rings by the end of the special stage. And unfortunately, in this demo, there's only one special stage for... It's not going to be an emerald this time. You got Galactic Gems. So the Galactic Gems acts as the Chaos Emeralds in this game, which is fine. I think it's original. It makes it a little bit different. It's not very original. I mean, you're still collecting something to power up, but it does breathe fresh air into the franchise. Man, it's kind of hard to believe this game isn't an officially licensed Sega product because it's just so nice. I'm kind of hoping that Sega doesn't try to take this down because it's a really, really good one. Anyway, I love that the UFOs are back here. It's a throwback, a call to the Sonic CD. And you're going to see a lot of that in this demo. There are tons and tons of Easter eggs from the Sega CD to the Sega Saturn, to Sega 32X, and even the cartoons. You're going to see lots of cameos and little Easter eggs, even some Sega Saturn ones as well. Now, not only does this have the special stages for the Galactic Gems, you also have the 50 coin ring post stage, and we'll get to that in a minute. It does look like they got the special stage ring from Sonic Mania, so there may be some reused assets here, which I don't mind too much because it doesn't take too heavily from any particular game. Now, the first level in this demo is very much a Green Hills style level, but it's not exactly Green Hills, very beachy. And we'll go look at the other bonus stage here. This one's a little bit tricky because this one reminds me of Super Monkey Ball, and it does take getting used to. As you can see, I fall right off the stage here. But don't worry, that's not for the Galactic Gem. It's only for the bonus. Extra lives, continues, ring-ups, and all that stuff. I'm really, really feeling this game. Now, there's tons of different levels here. It's not all the same. You do get different sceneries. This one is a wood-style level. This level reminds me of the scrapped wood zone level from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That might have been what they were going for in this level. Or maybe not, who knows, but I do love the level design here. There's tons of loops, there's tons of different ways to get around the level. It is very, very fun to navigate through the level. You don't have to go in a straight line. Let's talk about some critics, let's criticize the demo a little bit, and let's not give it too much of a fluff piece, because it is a really good game, but it's not perfect by any means of the word. The level design is very, very good. However, I feel like sometimes the level gets a little bit too long. You're going to play the demo and realize that some of these levels just go on forever. Now, I do like long levels, but this one is just a little bit too long. It seems like they just go on way, way, way too long, and you're kind of just waiting for that ring post, and it just doesn't show up until much, much later. Which is fine for the demo. I hope they tweak that, fix that, maybe, who knows. And you kind of need a few more enemies, I guess, in some of the earlier levels. You don't see too many enemies. Kind of reminds me of Knuckles Chaotix, where you could just go and not really worry too much about hitting anything because there's not much to hit. So that's something they might improve on later in the game, which I'm hoping they do. There's tons of little loops and swirls and things to go around the screen, and I only encountered maybe one or two glitches in the game where running too fast kind of broke the game a little bit, but it didn't break the game where I had to restart. I did get stuck into a wall at one point, but I was able to get out without much effort, so I wasn't too worried about that. Some other cool features in this game are monitors that have two screens. There are double monitors here. That's something original that you haven't seen too many times before. Here's another underwater level, which is really, really neat. I like the mechanic of going in the bubble to to prolong your ability to breathe underwater. These rings also help you breathe underwater, so it's not just a traditional, wait for the patch of bubbles to rise from the water so you can breathe. There's different ways to survive underwater, which is really, really cool. There's also tons of really cool stage mechanics. As you can see here, the traditional go through the pipes and it pushes you and sucks you in and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Really interesting. And there's a lot of momentum pushing devices, as you can see there, which is really, really cool. I really enjoy those. Some of the levels get a little bit too complicated. Some of them get too hard, mostly in the water level. And there are some fun chase sequences. There's a giant crab that blasts through the walls. What I really love about this game are the boss battles. It's not Dr. Robotnik sitting in an egg device like most other games. It seems like there's all types of original animated bosses here. You could see Eggman in the machine here, but he's not in all of them. There are a couple bosses where you don't see Eggman at all. But they're really, really fun and original. And I like that the bosses are not too cut and dry. It's not just bounce on the head and blow it up. There are little gimmicks that you have to get through to beat each boss, which makes them really, really fun. Now, this is one of my favorite levels in the game. Reminds me of that one level in Sonic Mania. Very, very Neon City inspired. Very, very cool. Now, it does have its own gimmicks, like every other stage, which is pretty neat. So it does still feel original. And the boss in this level is also my favorite boss. It is a guitar boss. You gotta check it out. It's really, really fun. Now, I give this demo a 9 out of 10. It is really, really, really fun. And it's a pretty long demo. At some points, I even forgot that this was a demo. It just kind of ends suddenly, but most demos only go for 1 or 2 levels and then stop right away. I really had a lot of fun with this one. I hope you really enjoy this one too. I highly recommend you download the Sonic Galactic demo. It is the best Sonic fan-made game that I've played in a very, very long time. I highly recommend it. Gonna give this one a 9 out of 10, like I said, and I really hope you enjoy this one. Go ahead and download it now. It's completely free. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.